Okay, Assalamualaikum. Good day to everyone. For today's video, I will show you how to do the analysis using SPSS to answer 4 research questions that we have discussed so far. So every group is supposed to have similar research questions. Okay, the first one will be on the demographic characteristics of the respondents. Okay, and then the second research question will be on testing the effect of of differences in gender on the Likert scale sections, the Likert scale factors. Okay, the third will be testing on the Likert scale factors, but this time around on the uh, 3 groupings or more, okay, depending on what topic or what are the groupings that you decide. So for this particular assignment, this one from last semester, the student chose the academic schools. Okay, so at least there should be 3 groups or more. Okay, so it can be different pointers, different CGPA, different income level, districts, okay, or school programs and whatnot. Okay, and the last one, which is using the correlation test, we want to look at the relationship among the factors, okay, or among the variables, focusing on the Likert scale section. Okay, so in the previous video, I've shown you how to construct the 4 variables, okay, the 4 variables using the scale, using the transform, okay, compute variable. So hopefully everyone has done this part, okay, the framework in your data in the variable view. So when you construct this new variable based on your Likert scale, the measure should be scale, okay, but the rest, okay, please go through the video again and change, okay, where is appropriate. For example, gender is supposed to be nominal, but CGPA, for example, is supposed to be ordinal because you can rank from lowest to highest. Okay, so make sure that the measures are correct. And lastly, for the 4 variables, automatically SPSS will decide that the construct of this variable is supposed to be on scale measure. Okay, so you need to know the differences between which one is nominal, which one is ordinal, which one is scale. So once you have constructed all, key in all your questions in the variable view, including the Likert scale transform into scale variable. The next part will be to start key in your data, okay, based on the questionnaire that you have designed. So based on what is the minimum number of sample size required in the Cauchy-Morgan table. So if your sample requires 350 respondents, for example, so please do that. So every person should have a unique data set, okay, within the same group. Let's say group 1, you have 4 members. Okay, so every group member not supposed to have identical data set, okay, because the respondents are supposed to be different for each and every one of you. Okay, so please do not repeat the mistake of last semester students, whereby I think one group that I mentioned previously, 3 members within the same group have an identical data set, okay, which is not supposed to happen, okay, because if you have 300 plus respondents, it's almost impossible that, you know, all respondents will choose the same answer. Okay, so once you have finished in your data, okay, you can start to do the analysis based on the 4 research questions that you have constructed. Okay, and don't forget, okay, before you want to answer your research questions to do the analysis, always refer to the hypothesis statement that you set out to do in your at the end of chapter number 2, okay, your research hypothesis. Okay, so this will will guide you how to actually answer the research questions. So the first research question, which is on the demographic characteristics, there is no hypothesis statement because you're not doing any particular test. So the way to do it is very simple. To answer the first research question, what are the demographic characteristics of your respondent? Okay, so it will be based on, you can click on analyze, choose descriptive, and then you can click on frequencies. Okay, frequencies. And basically what we need is or you can just choose analyze, descriptive, and you can choose descriptive, this one as well. So either one, I think more or less the same. Okay, you can choose age. I mean, so usually you highlight. I mean, you want to do for all of the questions in the section A. Okay, so here we have these questions in section A, and just click OK. Okay, so basically what we want is the mean, okay, the frequencies, how many, okay, but the thing when you choose descriptive, it only gives you this data, which is not sufficient. So usually what we do is we choose the frequencies. Okay, so again, repeat the same process, age, okay, okay. So you can do this in one go, okay, it's not supposed to be that difficult, okay, and then just click OK. Okay, so what SPSS does is it creates a separate table, okay, for every individual variable. But usually when you want to put in your writing, you want to combine every variable under one table, so that you don't need to repeat, you know, you don't have to. I mean, you don't need to construct so many tables in the demographic section. Okay, so for example, here for gender, you have, for example, okay, for example, male 18 male, 82 62 female, okay, and how many percent are male, how many percent are female, and the rest. Okay, so this will be based on the analyzed descriptive frequencies. For the descriptive, okay, this one you can do for the Likert scale component. Okay, I will show you in the next class on this on next week. Okay, sorry, on tomorrow. Sorry, tomorrow. How you can do? I mean, what is expected of you in the chapter 4 section? Okay, how do you want to display your results? Okay, do the interpretation correctly. Okay, based on, so I will use one or two assignment from last semester. Okay, and show you how to correctly do it in your own project this for this semester. Okay, so there it is. Okay, for the frequency table. Okay, so analyze, click on frequencies. Okay, and then you choose all the items in your section A, and you can get all the relevant frequency. How many respondents, for example, for the school? Okay, among the 80 respondents, 53 belong to SAB, 11 in STML, and the rest. Okay, so this completes the analysis for RQ1, the demographic characteristics. Okay, so for number 2, okay, for the second research question, which is to test on the effect of gender differences, okay, for each of the Likert scale component. So for this particular assignment, they have 4 Likert scale component. Okay, one is to look at the entrepreneurial intention. Okay, and then secondly, to look at the education. So HOA is to look at, risk-taking propensity, and then entrepreneurship education, the need for achievement. And fourthly is on the entrepreneurial intention. So all Likert scale components is tested using the t-test, okay, for the gender differences. And you can see that in terms of the HO, the null hypothesis, you always start there is no significant difference, okay. And then HI, the alternate hypothesis will be there is a significant difference. So from no to there is a lah. Okay. So you repeat the process 4 times if you have 4 Likert scale sections, meaning that you have 4 items, okay, or 4 components to be tested. Okay. So how do you do it in your SPSS? Okay. So just click on analyze, compare means, okay, independent sample t-test. Okay. And when you click on this, okay, you are prompted with this menu. So what this does is that you want to select all, in this case, you have 4 Likert scale components, okay, converted into the scale variable, okay, and then you, in terms of the grouping, so this is where it becomes, you need to choose the correct variable. So because our first, the RQ number 2, okay, is we are interested only on the gender differences. So choose gender, and then click here, okay, and then it will give you this question mark, okay, define group. So this one you must check in your variable view. Let me cancel first, okay. So in terms of the gender, how do you define the male and female? So for this particular student, the particular assignment, 1 is male, 2 is for female. So 1 male, 2 female. So again, go to compare mean, okay, and then independent sample t-test, okay. So we repeat the process yet again. Okay, and then for the grouping, we choose gender. Okay, and when you click define groups, okay, so what you need to do is 1 and 2 lah. 1 refers to male, 2 refers to female. Okay, make sure you don't put 0 and 1 because there is no 0 in the variable view definition. So if you define 0 and 1, then put 0 and 1 lah. But in this case, the student define 1 and 2, so just click continue and then click OK. Okay, so here you are given the output for the independent sample test. Okay, so by default, this is what Spss will give you because we do the test simultaneously for all 4 factors, so that's why it's combined under one big table. So what are the relevant information that we want in order to put in the table, okay, to extract the information? You cannot put everything because not everything is relevant, okay? So what is of particular importance? Okay, first between these two, equal or not equal variance. So usually we choose, I mean, either one is okay. You can choose equal variance. Okay, so what is important is the F test value. Okay, and then the significance to tail. Okay, and then here you can see, yes, the significance value, the two tail. Okay, this significance two tail value, which is 0.244. Okay, this one is 0.246. Okay, so between these two, because we want to choose the equal variance assume, so basically this is the p value. Okay, this is the p value. We choose the two tail. Okay, if you're using the latest version of Spss, they might give you one tail and the other one two tail. So always choose the two tail for simplicity. So look for the two tail. So you choose so this is the p value that we are interested to extract. Okay, beside the F test value, and we want also the p value. So what 0.244 means? So it's 24%. Okay, so in terms of hypothesis testing, okay, the lowest that we can accept is as long as the p value is less than 10%. Okay, is less than 10%, then we can less than 10% or 0.1. Okay, less than 10%, then we can choose to reject the null hypothesis. But in all cases, okay, because the data is not actually the true data, so for all cases, for entrepreneurial orientation, social support, self-efficacy, and intention, okay, 0.244 means 24.4%, 41.5%, 74.3%, 22.3%. So all p values exceed 10%. So you cannot reject the null hypothesis. Okay, you can only reject if the p value is less than, not more than 10%. Okay, so usually we choose 1% or 5%. Okay, but to make things simple, we just set the significance level at 10%. So as long as the p value is less than 10%, then you can reject the null hypothesis. What are the null hypotheses again? Okay, for null, if you reject, means there is significant difference lah. But if you cannot reject because the p value is more than 10%, then you can conclude that there is no significant difference. Maknanya faktor gender tu, the gender factor, does not play any significant role, okay, for that particular variable that you choose to analyze. Okay, so that concludes the RQ number 2. Okay, RQ number 2, how to do the independent sample t-test. Very easy. Okay, so again, how do you do it? Okay, you choose on the analyze, compare means independent t-test. Okay, and you put all the Likert scale factors, the pembaris punya logo here, meaning the one converted into the scale variable. For grouping, you choose gender and make sure that you define correctly according to how you define your the one in your variable view. In this particular assignment, the student choose 1 and 2. 1 male, 2 is for female. So if you define 0 and 1, so you must put 0 and 1 here. Okay, so that gives you the output. for the t-test, but you don't need to extract everything. The one that is relevant is the main thing should be the p-value and also the f-test. Okay, so usually we just go for the equal variance assumed. Okay, so next for tomorrow's class, I will show you how to put it in the proper table based on the assignment from previous semester. Okay, I think yeah, so that will be the goal for the presentation tomorrow. So I think this just a quick view lah. So this will be the contoh lah, the contoh of assignment that you can use. Okay, of course this is not the best one, but you know it's acceptable one. Okay, independent sample t-test. So for this particular student, the student put everything lah, the n, the mean, the t-test value. Okay, and then also the significant or the p value. Okay, so this t value, the t basically is this one lah. Okay, which is the f value. Okay, so by default apa tu this one. So yeah, this is the t-test value that we want to extract, not the f value. Okay, because we're looking at the t-test. So 1.175, 0.8, 0.329. So if you look at this particular assignment here, the t value is the one that we refer here lah as the t-test punya nilai ni. Okay, and then but there are different ways to I mean much better way to present. So usually you don't need all the standard deviation, the mean. What is of particular important is just the t-test value and the significant value. Okay, but if you want to put this way pun tak ada masalah lah. Okay, but you can see here, kalau ikutkan dalam t-test, kita tak ada pun n, tak ada pun apa tu. What we want is just the t-test value, and sometimes people even report the standard deviation, okay, the standard error. Okay, and then but the main thing is the p value, because that will help you to decide whether you want to reject or you do not want to reject the null hypothesis. Okay, so yeah, so this is something. Yeah, so I think this part comes from this thing here. Okay, the mean, standard deviation, but it's not needed actually. So what is important basically is this one lah, this table. But that one I will repeat this part tomorrow during our live Webex session tomorrow. Okay, so the first thing is how to do the t-test. Okay, so that is what I want to show for the for the second part. Compare means independent sample t-test. Okay, so the next one will be to answer the third research question. Okay, or the third or the second. Okay, the third research question basically on the 3 or more groupings. Okay, focusing on all the Likert scale factors. So for this particular assignment, the student chose the different school at CAS. Okay, so in your case, it might be something similar. Sekolah yang different programs, different schools or different districts. Okay, so how to do it? Okay, the same options, we choose analyze. Okay, but then compare means we choose one way Anova. Okay, so you are prompted with this menu. Okay, again, for the dependent list, you choose all the factors yang dalam Likert scale ni, okay, converted into the scale variable. Okay, and then for the factor, okay, so this is the part where depending on what grouping that you choose, okay, so for this particular assignment, I think the student chose the school, okay, program ni lah, different schools under CAS ke COB ke apa ke. Okay, so for this one, I think yeah, is under CAS ke COB. So this is for factor. Okay, so in your case could be the same things, different schools or different CGPAs or income level ke or district ke apa ke. Okay, then just click OK. Okay, very simple to do. Okay, so that's why I said in terms of the analysis is very quick to do. Yang makan masa tu, the time consuming part is to extract the information put in the nice tables and then to interpret them correctly. Okay, so this is the Anova consisting of all the 4 Likert scale factors. Of course, you want to extract one table at a time because you are analyzing one one variable at one time. Okay, so again, the important value yang kita nak tu is the F test, this one. Okay, is this one, the F value. and also the p-value. So for Anova, I think it's much more easier to detect or to use the table, because it's not like the t-test. You have so many information that is not relevant. Okay, again, for t-test, what we want is the t-test value and just the p-value here, these two tail component. Okay, but for Anova, what we want is the f value. Okay, but the value that will help you to interpret sama ada nak reject ataupun tak reject the hypothesis, the null hypothesis is based on the p value as well. So again, you can see that because the data is not, the true data, that's why you see for all the results, the p value all exceeding 10%. Okay, semua lagi besar daripada 10%. Why? Because here is 21%, 80%, yang ni 45%, 55%. Okay, so all exceeding 10%. So you cannot reject, tak boleh tolak null hypothesis. Let's say lah, okay, maybe in your own analysis, let's say lah you get this one to be 0.07, for example. Okay, so let's say lah not 0.218, but you get 0.07. So what does this means? Bermaksud ini adalah 7%. 7% is of course less than 10%. So you can reject the null hypothesis. So as long as lagi kurang daripada 10%, this value, you can reject the null hypothesis. But in this particular example, semua tak boleh tolak lah. Okay, you cannot reject the null hypothesis. Okay, what are the null hypothesis again? No difference for the vectors based on the different school. Okay, why in this case tak boleh tolak? Okay, in terms of the statistical punya nilai, all exceed 10%. Okay, but in reality, usually boleh reject lah if you do the data collection properly. And one reason also because the sample size is very small, only 80 sahaja. Okay, when during last semester punya project. Okay, so yeah, so it's 20. So this is how you do Anova. So again, for tomorrow punya video, Webex, I will show you based on the previous punya assignment, how you can display your result lah. Okay. So yeah, so that will be the contoh lah. Okay, how to do the Anova test. Okay, and finally, the fourth research question, which is to look at the correlation. Okay, or the relationship lah, relationship antara all the Likert scale factors. So usually if you can decide, mungkin lah, okay, in your own questionnaire ada dependent variable and ada independent variables. Which one among your Likert scale tu ialah dependent variable, the y variable, and which one among your Likert scale are the independent variables. Then lebih mudah nak buat lah. Tapi if you cannot segregate, okay, if you cannot decide, or if you cannot your questionnaire is not in the way, bukan dalam bentuk dependent DV/IV, but it's just a collection of Likert scale factors, then tak ada masalah. Kita cuma nak tengok hubungan di antara inilah variable-variable di dalam among your Likert scale factors. Okay, so for the fourth objective, okay, because in this particular assignment, kita cuma interested nak tengok ada tak hubungan di antara the dependent variable factor and the other 3 variables dalam Likert scale tu. Okay, remember ada 4 faktor. There are 4 variables in the Likert scale for this particular assignment. Okay, so because there are 4, so yang dia punya tajuk tu, there is no, the null will be, there is no significant relationship between risk-taking 1, education 2, need for achievement 3, and the entrepreneurial intention. Yang this one will be the dependent variable lah. Okay, so I will show you what are the information that you want to extract from the correlation output. Okay, from the correlation test. So how to do it? Analyze. Okay, choose correlate, and then you choose bivariate. Okay, depending on what version of SPSS. Mine is the older version, but the one that you want to choose is the correlate and then bivariate. Okay, so again, we always rely on the 4 factors converted into scale. Okay, so we just choose the default setting. Saya tak ubah apa pun, kita gunakan Pearson 2-tail. Okay, and then click OK. Okay, and then this is the immediate output that you get, correlation test among the 4 variables. Okay, so it's quite simple to analyze. Kita cuma nak tengok, okay, kalau for example this one, okay, how do you read it? Okay, between the same variable, of course you will get one lah. Entrepreneur orientation dengan orientation, because dia faktor yang sama akan dapat perfect one value lah. Okay, but between orientation and support is 0.542 positive, okay, which is 54%. Yang ni significant 67%, yang ni 59%, and sama lah. Okay, kalau for example 0.593 is the same as this one, because this is between intention and orientation. Yang ni pun samalah, yang ni orientation dengan intention, so it's just cross saja, benda yang sama. Okay, so what we want actually is, kalau if you can again lah, okay, kalau you boleh asingkan which one is your dependent variable, which one is your independent variable, so itu yang kita nak fokus sebenarnya, which is intention ni is the dependent variable. So we want to look at the hubungan antara the DV, intention to become entrepreneur, and the other three factors, orientation, support, and self-efficacy. So inilah kita tengoklah, 0.593, 0.6 and 0.729. So meaning between intention dengan orientation, the hubungan is positive and significant. How do I know it's significant? Sebab ada bintang kat sini. Okay, 2 bintang ni bermaksud significant even at 1% level. 2 bintang yang ni pula pun sama juga. So all three factors, okay, all three factors, hubungan dia positif dan significant. Significant means the P value is less than 10%. In this case, even less than 10%, dia lagi kecil daripada 1%, which is much better lah. Okay. So in term of SPSS, dia akan letak bintang siap-siap. Kalau P value dia kurang daripada 1%. But because we decide that we want to be more flexible, kita akan letak kurang daripada 10%, we can reject already. So walaupun, okay, if you look at this P value, of course, this one is 0.0000, which is less than 1%. Okay, but let's say lah, if you get, let's say 0.08, for example, okay, dia tak ada bintang, sebab bintang ni hanya untuk 1% and below. Tetapi if you get 0.08 or 0.09 maybe, it is still less than 10%, so you can still reject the null hypothesis. Maknanya ada hubungan signifikan di antara intention dan juga orientation. Okay, but and you mention lah hubungan tu signifikan dan positif. Why positif? Sebab nilai dia positif lah 0.5 ni. Kalau negatif, dia akan letak negative sign kat depan ni. Okay, so that is how you want to know whether the hubungan is positive. First, you look at the P value, and whether it's negative or positive, tengok pada nilai kat depan ni. Kalau tak ada negative sign, means the hubungan is positive lah. Usually, you will get positive relationship among the Likert scale factors. Okay, so how do you extract this information? Again, I will show this you all esok lah. Okay, so just a quick view from the assignment from last semester. Okay, yang ni lah kita boleh. Tapi ini, this is not the best way to display. Okay, so I will find maybe another assignment, the better one, or you can just refer to the Google Drive punya collection. Okay, when it comes to the Pearson correlation, how you should display the output for the correlation test. Okay, so I might go through some assignments kejap lagi for our sample for tomorrow, or you can just refer to the collection in the Google Drive. Okay, so that you can use, inilah boleh tengok lah mana yang nampak lebih kemas. Okay, so this is how you want to answer all 4 research questions. First, the demographic characteristics, you want to extract the frequencies, okay, analyze, compare means, descriptive, you choose frequencies. And for the second research question, compare means, you choose independent sample t-test. The third one, you use Anova. And the fourth one, you choose correlate by variate. Okay, so that's it for tonight. Okay, I'll see you inshallah tomorrow. And we will continue on how to interpret, okay, how to extract the information from all the tests, put it in the nice tables, presentable table, and hopefully I can show you, based on the previous assignment, the correct way to interpret what do I expect in your chapter 4 in terms of your analysis. Okay, so thank you. Assalamualaikum and good day to all.